Alright, today in the shop we have kind of probably a 1930s, 1940s Archtop here. And as you may or may not be able to see right off, we have some damage here. So what happened is that the client went through, just getting done with the guitar class, went to go through and sling his guitar, and all of a sudden, poof, we have the end pin fall out and it hits the floor. Luckily we don't have any separation around the outside, but we do have some pretty nasty cracking, and it is uneven. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take some cleats that I made right here, and we're going to go and glue these to the bottom side so that this crack doesn't crack again. We're going to use one of these handy dandy winch clamps that I made myself, if you couldn't tell already. And we're going to go and we're going to take this and a little bit of wire, cross this here, and we're going to take a little bit of wire, we're going to feed it through here, take it out the F-hole, tie on that cleat, bring it back over here with a little bit of glue, and what this does is this goes through and this actually helps us equal out our crack. So I had to do a lot of research on how to work on one of these, because I've never worked on an Archtop that needed a repair like this, but it is totally repairable with the right stuff. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some felt pads on the bottom here so that we don't have to worry about marring up that finish. And then I'm going to work some glue into these cracks. And then, as you can see here, I'm going to zoom in real quick. And right there. Ah, there we go. So, you really can't see this well on camera, but if I go through and lift that up, you can see that we're really uneven. Along with that, we have a really large gap that we need to go through and to bridge. So we actually need to get some clamping force, not only this way to keep this top even, but this way so we can actually close that crack. So we're going to use a little bit of clamping on the sides as well to go and make sure that we have everything the way that it needs to happen. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and let's get to work. Alright, so what I got here is I have a little bit of wire. I'm going to start on the short side here. And what I want to do is kind of push this down, see if we can work this guy into the crack. There are other ways that you can do this. One way is that you take a super duper tiny well, that one might not need a cleat. Hold on. There we go. Take this guy the other direction. And what I'm gonna do, since I can do this, take it about right there. I'm going to lift up a little bit. Get our wire in there, and feed it through. There we go. Alright, next thing we do, we take our cleat and we want to go through and we want to make sure that, you see how this is curved, right? So it's curved. We want to make sure that the flat part is up against the crack. We take it just like that. Next thing we do is we're going to tie a knot in it. Grab pliers. we're just going to do this. I'm going to tie a knot in it. And that knot is going to go and press up against that cleat when we bring when we use our winch clamp to pull these two pieces of wood together. Come on, there we go. Okay. I'll keep that guy out of the hole just because it's a little bit of a pain if we have to kind of drag it in there. Grab this and yank. So now, if we do this, there we go. We do this, this goes through, pulls right against this hole, and you see we get a nice clamping effect right there. I'm going to make that just a little bit bigger, just for precaution's sake. So we're going to do this again. Boom. Same thing. This. That. So same thing here. Just check it, because the last thing we want to do is, there we go. Pulls up really nicely against there. So we're going to do that a couple more times here. So on this side, we'll leave a pretty goodly amount here. There we go. And what we can do is we can place this, and this will go through there, and that'll be great. So what I'm going to do, so make sure that I don't prematurely lose this cleat into the guitar, so I'm going to take a little bit of blue tape and just tape it down right over here, because we got to put glue on the back side of this one too, or otherwise it doesn't mean anything. Okay. This crack is a little different because we could just go through and we can just fit the wire in here. This crack is a little tighter, which is a good thing. So we'll just do that, same thing. A lot of people will go in there and like fish this out, but I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm any different than anybody else in this case. I just feel like I can get it like this. Okay, so same thing. We're gonna put our cleat. I'm gonna put the bottom side through here. Tie our knot. In fact, I'm gonna double knot it this time. So there's one. I'm gonna pull it a little bit. Throw another one in there. And I think it's going to be two. Yeah. We'll see. Does it come undone? No, it does not. Okay. So grab and pull. There we go. Same deal here. Take a look at this. Goes right up against there, nice and easy. So we'll fish this through here. I want to keep this up pretty high, so I'm going to need another banjo string, which thankfully I have. I'm using a #1 banjo string, so they make wire for this. I think it was like 8 gauge music wire or something like that. I can't remember. But in a pinch, found out that banjo string works really well. All right. So he had a really good idea, and as good luthiers do, I'm gonna steal it. So what he ended up doing is that he did the same thing that we're doing right now on an Archtop. Got everything there, and then he wasn't able to pull out the strings. What he said to do instead was to take another string, and we're gonna loop these through the bottom here of each of our loops so that we can just pull these out at the end, so that we don't have to sand down any barbs or anything like that or get into this finish more than we absolutely have to. So I thought that was a fantastic idea, so I'm gonna steal it. I don't know, maybe purloin. I don't know what the word is for it. Borrow. Strategically transfer equipment to an alternative location. That was always a good one. Just going to take a little bit of blue tape here, put it on the ends, so that when we pull this guy through, we don't lose it. Because we still need to go and pull all of these through. So now, do this, go around, and boom. Okay, so next step is that we are going to go and we're going to work some glue into all of these joints. So let's go ahead and let's do that. Alright. I'm just going to use a little bit of cardboard here. Put some wood glue on. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dab it in here. We're going to go paint it on real thick and real nice. So we do have some pretty decent work time on Type Bond, but I also don't want to faff around because we want to make sure that we can get this down into those cracks nice and deep. And how we're going to do that is we're actually just going to go take some more and we're just going to flex this joint, get the glue down as deep as we can, really get in there, and don't be afraid to get that glue in there. I'll come back a little later on this inside and with a little bit of water. All right, I think we have a pretty decent amount of glue on that side, so now we need to work on the upper side here. Do the same thing. And what we're gonna do, zoom in here a little bit. We're going to take this, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on some wood glue on the bottom of this cleat. Make sure that we have a decent amount here. Then I'm going to take this, feed this through here, take this right here, feed it through the hole on the tuning peg, and get it nice, set up and stable. And we don't want to go and we don't want to do this too hard but we want to make sure that we are level. Well, get in there. Okay. I think we have it. There we go. This goes like so. There we go. I think I'm going to have to add a clamp right here because we're still stepping a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is take a big clamp, come around here, do this, make sure that we don't have any steps in there, and we've got some good squeeze out, looks like. I'll make sure that we don't have any stepping there. Good. Okay, and they're a little uneven there, but we're going to have a clamp that. So, we're going to do the same thing over here to these two. So we're going to take you out. There we go. I'm just going to use another string. Let's use that way. Trying to church it up a little too much, I think. There we go. Use a completely different string there. So each one, when I pull it out, has its own string. Take this into here. Cleat right there will do it. Just a single cleat. Because that's where the biggest separation is. Okay, so we're going to come back with a couple of clamps here. First one we're going to do is okay. A little stepping there. So I'm just going to do this here. A little stepping there. this. Same thing here. Do this. Get her up on her side. Make sure we get these cam clamps down here. Making sure that we don't have any stepping on this crack. Go. There's no stepping there. No stepping there. That's nothing there. Click. So now, let's clamp. Got a good squeeze out everywhere. Definitely didn't go exactly the way I wanted it to, but there's a little bit of stuff there I want to see if I can fix. There we go. All right. We're gonna leave her clamped for 24 hours now. All right. I didn't get me pulling out the strings, but they came out really nicely. If we take a look at this crack, we have stayed together fairly nicely. So the next part of this process, and I'm just feeling right here and making sure that we don't have any stepping. which we don't. So we're going to clean it up. We're going to put a little super glue in there to protect it, and then we'll show you what it looks like and sounds like after she's strung up with a new set of strings. All right, she's now strung up, ready to go. No stepping on that crack. Everything else, we got the end pin down here glued in just like you wanted. Just going to go back. Sounds absolutely beautiful. So, gonna go back to the owner and hopefully live happily for many, many years.